Everybody. Welcome to season 2 of the Growth Invitation. In this season, I am committed to bringing on powerful females from all around the world to share their stories of challenges, of growth, as an invitation to all of you and inspiration to us all, women out there who are just going through challenges, going through things that, well, life in general, I would say. So, you know that no matter where you are, no matter what you've experienced, what you're experiencing now, and where your starting point is, you can always choose to grow and manifest your dream future. Today, I'm really excited to have Samantha, with us today. Hi.
Hi, Janet. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. I'm really excited to be doing this with you today because honestly, you are someone that really inspires me a lot, and you just make me so happy. So I'm just like, I know I have to bring you on. And of course, what are we talking about today? We are talking about, what if happy looks different? Me and you have had multiple conversations about this actually, about what happiness means and what it for each of us, and how it looks different. It really looks different now. So that's what we're going to talk about before we get into all the juicy bits. Sam, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much, Janette. I'm Sam. I am a women's health nutritionist and I'm also a health coach. And I'm based in London. I am so looking forward to this conversation. I forgot to say, I am the founder of Happy Body Ltd. So it's all about happiness, right?
Yes, exactly. And as you can see from her smile, she's just a super happy person. And what I love about you, Sam, is that you always just bring the joy wherever you come. Like whatever you're going through, you just like, let's talk about happy. Let's be happy. Like let's go through life happy. So I'm always like inspired by you, and that's why I wanted to bring you on to talk about this whole concept of happy because let's face it and let's be honest, there are a lot of people who are unhappy right now out
Oh my
there,
God.
especially women who are high achieving, who are thriving or supposed to be thriving on paper, and they're doing all the things that they've been told, they've been doing all the things that they know what to do within their knowledge, but somehow they're just not quite there yet.
No.
So, um, I would love for you to start off by sharing your story
Yeah.
about happiness, and we'll go from there.
You know what, Janet? I think we have to go back to the beginning. Uh, I don't think we ask ourselves the question, am I happy? Um, and to a certain extent, and that's totally valid, by the way, don't get me wrong. If you're healthy, if you have a roof over your head, if you eat every day, a lot of people will say you should be happy. And of course, it's totally valid. That plays a huge part. However, even though, and nowadays we can see it, we have those things, I mean, hopefully for a lot of people, and yet we're not happy. And for me, I had a kind of like a breakdown that every breakdown hides a breakthrough, by the way, um, in the sense where I was confronted to the question, am I happy?
Mm.
And I think I'm not sure it had really happened before. And the whole story is I knew someone, and he was going through challenges, and I kept telling him, you should, a very good friend, oh, you should genuinely take a break from work. You're not well. He did, and I will never forget that day. I spoke to him, and his voice was so like full of relief and peace and happiness and just this sense of like, oh, I'm doing so well. And I swear to God, it actually caused a breakdown in myself where I was like, can I have a bit of that, please? Literally. And I remember asking my boyfriend, hey, am I happy? Do I seem happy to you? And he's like, well, no, you keep complaining about things. I'm like, oh my God. And I am not joking. That triggered a breakdown where I was
Mm,
like, oh my God, I am actually not happy.
mm.
And
Yeah.
it's crazy.
No, and I think so. I mean, you're obviously out on the other side now, and lots
Yeah,
of things have changed. But that concept of asking such a simple question,
yeah,
like 3 words,
yeah.
but we don't pause to think, are we happy? Like, am I happy? Wait, am I happy? Like, it's almost like a double take. Wait, let me just double check.
But Janet, like, that's a very good point because the thing about being happy is that it has been almost predefined by society.
Mm,
Oh, in order to be happy, you need to have this, you need to have that, you need to earn a certain amount of money. And we see that a lot of people and high achieving women, as you mentioned, and I know as well quite a few, they're not happy because there is something missing, or they have an amazing career but they don't like it. And what is often missing is the passion. There is like a strong passion, a strong interest that they don't necessarily have. And it's very interesting. And life without passion, and of course I'm Aries, and I was born and raised in France, where I don't know, I feel like I come from quite a passionate, environment. But without passion, yeah, it can be quite tough, I think, because you haven't really found your thing. And you might be an amazing employee, but if you haven't found your thing that you're really passionate about, that you love, that lights you up, that's where you might find have a bit of a void, really.
yeah, absolutely. And I think alongside that, it's about, I think contribution makes a big,
Oh
big
my God, yeah.
difference. Like when you're contributing to something.
Yeah.
And this is actually not to kind of diss anyone who has who works in a corporate, because
Yeah, no, no.
actually some people love their corporate jobs. It gives it exactly what they
Yeah,
want. It gives them, the growth, the fulfillment, the
yeah,
contribution, like in every way. Then yeah, absolutely. And I think that alongside, passion, and because passion really comes through when you're doing something that you love, like no
yeah,
matter what, like if you're
yeah.
talking about it all the time, if you're reading up and watching things in your spare time all the time, like I think that's a passion.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was doing, back in the day when I was on dating sites, it was like, "What's your hobby?" And I was like, um, watching TV.
Oh my God, yeah, I mean, that's fair. I love it.
Personal development. I mean, back then, but like way before, I was like, I don't know, like watching TV, shopping, sleeping. Like those are great things, but then it doesn't. Those are like really good. Like I mean, those are hobbies,
Yeah,
or like, but then it doesn't necessarily turn into passion. Sometimes
yeah,
hobbies turn
I
into
agree.
passions, which is
Yeah,
amazing, but sometimes they don't. And I think it's important for people to actually find what they're really passionate about, that,
yeah, yeah,
literally they just want to do everything they can
yeah,
within that.
yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you. And I have that as well with what I do, nutrition and connecting, right? I love connecting with people. That's how I've connected with you and so many other people and entrepreneur. But yeah, like nutrition for me has been, when I think about my life, my memories are in France in the kitchen with my four sisters and my mom, because my dad doesn't cook. And it's a bit cliche, but but we were cooking, or I saw them cooking. And I have such good memories of just preparing a meal or baking or anything like that. And it can sound very simple, but it brings me back to my life and my childhood. And
Mm.
and that's why it's very, I have a very I love food, and I almost have a self-love. I mean, that's how I express love, by the way, through food. And I realized when I lived on my own versus when I now live with with my boyfriend, like there is no difference in the quantities because I'm from a big family, or because I just love to nourish myself because it's a real passion, right? And then I wanted to learn about nutrition, and then I was like, oh, I really want to support people with nutrition. So yeah, so as you said, like it's basically kind of my whole life.
I love that, and I guess that actually the food element brings you joy.
Oh my god,
You
yeah.
know, to be able to eat good food, to be able to provide good food,
Yeah,
cook good food,
yeah,
and then actually add the nutrition on top.
yeah.
Would you say that's one of the reasons why you became a nutritionist in the first place?
Yeah, and it's really, really interesting, Janet, because when I've told some people I've become nutritionist, lots of people said, "Oh yeah, it makes sense." And I, you know what? Because so apparently that's how I was kind of like showing up, you know. But yeah, I guess it's just natural, and it came up in 2020 when I was like, oh, at that time we had time to reflect with the lockdowns, and I was like, wait a minute, that's what I want to do, and then that's it. That's it spiraled from there.
Mm. I love that. That's so great. So we definitely need to go out for some food then. I'm an absolute foodie as well.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So let's kind of like go back to what
yeah,
happened to you in terms of when your colleague came back really happy and you were like, wait, can I have a bit of that? What's going
yeah,
on?
yeah, yeah.
What actually happened? Like what did you go through during that breakthrough moment or phrase? What actually happened to get you to where you are now?
Yeah, I guess I just very honestly and authentically realized that I wasn't happy, and I know it can sound silly, but I that level of peace and relief and happiness that he had in his voice wasn't something I was able to achieve and reach like
Mm,
personally.
mm,
And that's why I was like, wait a minute, I'm not able to be like that because I'm not really happy. But what's because I am what happened then is like I took a break from everything, but the thing weirdly I was like, oh, you know what? The thing I want to invest in is my business, and I
mm,
don't even know how that even happened. But I was like, oh, it's obvious. I want to invest in Happy Body because it makes me so happy. And from then I started investing more into it, and I had an amazing year, being featured in making my dream come true, being featured in Stylist
mm,
Magazine, in Metro, the newspaper, and just supporting women and meeting amazing women like you. But it really came from realizing that I was not happy, and it can sound very simple, and identifying the things that were not making me happy. And for me, it was that I wasn't, you know, doing anything that made me like passionate. You see what I mean? And
mm,
what makes me what brings me joy and passion is Happy Body and supporting others. And when I dived more into it, that's when I was like, oh, everything, like genuinely everything changed.
mm.
Luckily.
Yeah, and I guess it's when you really almost throw yourself at it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like in the sense, not in a negative sense, but in the sense that you're wholly, completely committed
yeah,
to something that you love, something that you know is going to be doing good for the world, something
yeah,
that um, you are absolutely passionate about.
yeah.
And then I guess the outcome, almost a byproduct, is happy.
Yeah. I mean, genuinely, because that's what you put in as well. Like, because when you do something with happiness and when you're positive, but at the same time you don't expect things, like things come into place as well. I'm very into the law of attraction. With my crystals, and that's really important to me. And I guess I just practice what I preached as well. But I know some people might watch this recording or and might think, oh, but I don't have any passions. And I would genuinely say and ask, what did you like when you were a kid? Because
Mm,
sometimes we don't give ourselves the permission to kind of be silly and be playful, and that can help. And sometimes when you're a kid, maybe you're like, oh, I wanted to do something impossible, I don't know, but I feel like there is always something we can tap into. And I think sometimes with the noise of our education and society, it's actually quite difficult to
mm,
actually pause and say, what do I want? What makes me happy? But if we take the time to really do it, I really feel like so much good can come out of that.
mm. Yeah, yes, absolutely. And I think, one thing you touch upon is like we just don't give ourselves the time to be silly and just to be a child again, or acknowledge it. I
Yeah,
think is a big
yeah,
thing. And also, we've been taught to diminish our dreams because we think it's
yeah,
impossible.
yeah,
And so then, like, how many people like have said, "Oh, I can't do this
yeah,
because look at me, who
yeah,
am I?" You
yeah,
know? And it's like, wait, is it something that you still love to do? And I've heard so many people share their stories about, I don't know, I love dancing, but I stopped because I love music, and I stopped because I love this, and I stopped because, I don't know, it didn't make me any money, or
yeah.
like I couldn't get like a stable job, or this, that, and the other. And it's just like, and I think happiness doesn't just have to come from a job.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think
Like
happiness
truly.
can also come from, even if it's a hobby, something you do after work, something you do a
Yeah,
weekend,
yeah,
and that whole thing of how many times, and this really, I think when we were having this conversation, I had to really wrap my head around this is, how many times am I doing something that makes me happy in a
yeah,
day?
yeah,
And that then equates to happiness.
yeah.
And I think that's the concept, which, because we almost use happy or happiness, it's a noun, it's not a doing, right? So
Ah,
then
that's
we're
very
all,
interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
almost like a thing that we get to. So when I've done this equals this, right?
yeah,
I'm getting to it. And
yeah,
it's like, no, it's like it's actually just accumulative.
yeah. Totally. And it can be very simple. For some people, it might be having a cup of coffee in the morning in a very cute mug. For me, I live in Angel in Islington, and I love where I live. I feel grateful every day, and I'm not joking. I absolutely am so happy when I just walk around and I see all those beautiful Victorian houses with the doors that have different colors, and it's not a job at all, it's not a hobby, but it's something that makes me so happy because I'm also so grateful.
Mm,
So I think we need to bring things down, like to something to bring things to simplicity as well. And I love what you said. I genuinely think that if we find one thing we're very happy to do every day, can be amazing. One thing that makes me happy is at the end of the day to wash my face, brush my teeth, have a shower. That act of self care is something that I absolutely love. Right? It's very simple when you think about it, but I just love it. I love how you feel after. I feel refreshed. I feel amazing. So very simple things can really help as well.
yes, and I remember when you asked me that question, like, Jeanette, are you happy? I was like, blah 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 blah, and you just like, wait, are you happy? And I was like, no. And that, I mean, that kicked off a hell of a lot of things for me as well. And I think just bringing it back to daily practice.
Yeah,
I think, what
yeah.
would you say? I think I think it's a muscle that we can build. What would you say?
Yeah, I want to use a word I've been using a lot and that is quite controversial. I think it's also part of being selfish. And selfishness has been used in a very bad way. And I'm not talking about being selfish as in not giving your seat on the tube to someone who needs it more than you, or just being selfish. And you see what I'm in the bad way? I'm just talking about focusing on yourself a bit more
Mm.
and actually taking the time to do something you love, to do something that makes you happy. So yeah, sorry, I don't remember the question, but that's what I wanted to say, Janet. Sorry.
No, no, not at all. No, I was actually just saying, like, would you say that happiness is actually a muscle that we can build? It's a muscle we need to build.
Yeah,
It's a
I
bit
think
like going to
yeah,
the gym.
yeah, but definitely, and again, it's really if you focus a bit more on how you feel. And it's from Abraham Hicks. For those who know Abraham Hicks, they're amazing in terms of the law of attraction. And I had the privilege to go see them in Scotland a few months ago, and I loved it. And they say you really have to do more of the things that make you happy, even if it's something very simple. But full stop. And basically, to attract and manifest the life that you want, to bring good things to you. Because if you're in a state of negativity, that's you're going to attract more of that. And I know it can sound a bit harsh to say, but genuinely, if happiness is something that you're like a concept that's too big, just break it down. Do you enjoy your cup of coffee or I don't know of tea in the morning? Because that's already massive. I get
Mm.
really excited in October, and now it's coming even in August when there's like pumpkin spice latte. That season is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't even drink coffee, but I go to Starbucks and I have a decaf. But that makes me so happy. I don't think you can imagine. And I'm looking forward to that season. How silly is that, right?
Yeah, well, I love that though because you know there's something that you
Oh my god.
absolutely love and it's waiting for you. You know
Oh
it's
yeah.
coming. Yeah, mine was caramel macchiato when I did drink Starbucks back then.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
caramel. Okay.
yeah. I drink other coffees now, but back then it was like the go-to. But I totally agree with you, and I remember, when I started, after you asked me that question, I went home and reflected. I was like, okay, so what am I actually doing that makes me happy?
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get to it.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's why, I personally believe that it's a muscle because we build up muscle, mental muscle, when we're thinking about one thing or the other. So it might be that, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. It's a muscle, it's a neural pathway to always look for what we don't have.
Yeah.
But it's also a neural pathway to look for things that we always have or that we do have.
Yeah.
And I think by training and retraining our minds in that way, it leads to happiness or unhappiness. But
Totally.
when we don't think about it and when we don't give ourselves the space to go, am I happy? What am I doing that's happy versus not happy? Then actually that takes away our own power from ourselves to go, oh, actually, I like or don't like this. So do more of this and not more of that.
Yeah. Your thoughts create your reality. And I can't remember the number of thoughts we have in a day, but I think 80% of our thoughts are actually negative, which is absolutely insane. And that's the society we live in as well.
Mm,
But as you say, now I know I get it when you speak about muscle, because indeed it's really a retraining, right?
yeah.
Going from trying to kind of, you know, not avoiding the negative thoughts, but kind of focusing on the positive,
Mm,
because that
yeah.
takes a while. That takes a while.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It takes practice. It
Yeah.
absolutely takes
Oh my god.
practice.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
So if I was to ask you, to have a happy body,
Ooh,
let's
that sounds good.
And to be happy, like, what would you suggest that people can do? Like, what does that actually comprise of?
I always have a holistic. We are a whole person, right? Um, and genuinely, and just like with my clients, it's not just about the one thing or another. It's being able to eat uh, my 80% pretty much kind of like balanced, and but never, and of course unless someone is watching and has a certain medical condition, like you should also like enjoy the, let's say you like your caramel macchiato or a bit of ice cream, but it should be balanced. And then working on your sleep, because sleep is just so important, right? It's the foundation of everything. um Movement as well, and I'm not just talking about exercising. I'm talking about, can you go for a walk? Can you go for a walk even for 5 minutes to bring a bit of movement in? Because it's very powerful as well. I think we have underestimated the power of walking, but it's so powerful. Maybe I can come back one day to speak about it. And then the mental health. And I feel like, and it's, some people are going to be like, oh, Sam, that's a lot. But I genuinely believe that having a balance of those four elements are actually what can make someone healthier, happier. Uh, and that's kind of and build a foundation, right?
Mm,
Because at the end of the day, a very good friend of mine said to me last week that a monk said, you think you have 99 problems, but when you have one health problems, you only have one problem. Like genuinely,
mm,
suddenly the other problems don't exist. You have one. um and that's so true. Like health is just so important, right? I think these days, I think we know it. And it's a very solid foundation. But then, and then of course, once you have all those elements, as we said, focusing on very small things throughout the day, or even one thing per day, and becoming a bit more selfish, as in thinking, oh, am I happy? um, am I doing something I enjoy, or am I just people pleasing? You see what I mean? That
mm.
those can be extremely powerful. I personally discovered that I was people pleasing a lot, without really realizing it. And then I was like, wait a minute, I have to focus on me a bit more. And I became happier. And because I was protecting myself as well. Sorry, that's a very long answer to a question.
No, it's very holistic, like you
It's
said, and
very
it is
holistic.
important because actually, we need all of those parts to
Yeah,
function,
yeah,
even without thinking. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
deliberately thinking, we
yeah,
can.
yeah,
So it goes to show, like, it is important to have all of those elements,
yeah.
almost as the foundation and the basis. But my question to you would be, if there was one thing that someone had to start off with. I know this is hard. One thing to start off with is like, okay, in order for me to be happy, in order for me to see happiness in a way that suits them, because we're here to talk about what if happy is different,
Yeah.
what would you say that piece of advice would be?
Doing more of something they like to do and milking it. It could be that you've spoken to a friend, and you've loved the conversation. That it could be as simple as that. Well, can you replay that in your mind?
Mm,
It could be, if you like animals, maybe you've pet like, a cat or a dog, and that brought you so much happiness. Well, milk it. Or could you go to a cat cafe, or like a puppy yoga session? Like like those things can be so silly, like, oh, very simple. But I think it really really makes a difference. What do you like, and can you do more of it? um and I'm really talking about those simple things.
mm. Yeah, and then cumulatively, you suddenly find that you're actually happy without
Yeah,
even.
or happy, yeah,
Yes, yes, exactly,
genuinely,
exactly. Yeah.
genuinely.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Sam. Like, really, as I said, always have an amazing conversation with you,
Thank
and
you so much.
I just love watching you smile. It's just something that just makes me want to smile and makes me happy. So we'll definitely be having more of a conversation. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much, Janet, for the invitation. It's been amazing. You're amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. And for those of you who are watching live or watching the replay, we would love to hear from you. How did you find this episode? What are your thoughts about it? And maybe you've got something that you want to share, your personal experience about how you actually got to be happy, or maybe you're not happy right now and you have a question for us about how you can change those experiences for you. Then do get in touch. Let us know in the comments. We would love to hear from you. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much once again,
Thank
Sam,
you. Thank
and
you.
we look forward to seeing you all again in 2 weeks' time. Bye for
Thank
now.
you. Bye.